Players rose and players fell in the Jets preseason finale against the New York Giants. We'll talk about all of it, plus a special story with Takk McKinley. We'll play some of those clips here on the show. It's time to roll on Boy Green Daily on a Sunday.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
You're fucking depressing.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Paul Austin Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. The second show of this morning, we were live about 6 hours ago at like 1:30 in the morning doing a Jets postgame recap, and now I've got a special guest to help me through it a little bit more, and a lot to get to. We have cutdown day on Tuesday, August 27th. Teams got to cut the rosters from 90 to 53 on Tuesday. A lot of big decisions to make coming off that game last night where some players may have made a case to make that roster. So without further ado, let's bring on that special guest. That is none other than my father, Esden Zone, joining us here on the program. Hop on Pop. Nice hat there.
Nice. Thank you very much. What time does the 7:30 show start?
I have a white title beneath my name. It says New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy. Have you ever considered a comedian? Is that a possible thing you'd like to?
Anything is possible. Anything is possible. But yes, here we go. All right, last preseason game behind us. Full steam ahead.
That's right. It very much will be. There's a lot to get into from the game last night, takeaways, players, and like I said, a little bit of a preview of cutdown day. And my father asked the other day a very interesting question on one of my shows, and I said, hold that thought, and we will definitely explore that coming up on Sunday, as it were, with this show coming up. So what I would like to do is, first off, I'd like your reaction. And this is a guy that actually used to be on your team. So he's kind of interesting. Tac McKinley, a former first-round draft choice, not of your team. That was of the Atlanta Falcons a couple years ago. He showed pop those first 2 years. He had like 13, 14 sacks through 2 years. You're like, oh, okay. This is the talented pass rusher we thought we were all getting from UCLA. And then he fell off a cliff for a variety of reasons. And he's been bouncing around the league, getting opportunity with several teams, including the Dallas Cowboys. What do you make of this young man seemingly maximizing his opportunity and making a case, if not for the Jets roster, someone else's? I think he's going to make this Jets roster. But either way, it sounds like he's done enough to make someone's roster. That's for sure.
Yeah, I would tell you the person that should be concerned is Michael Clemens.
Oh, geez. Come on.
No. I don't have hate for anybody, right?
Sure.
But Tac McKinley went in there and showed what's up. And so if the Jets don't keep him on the roster, I'd be surprised. I was going to get to this later, but okay. I'm sure you're all over this. Could you tell me there was only 2 Jet starters that played last night? Do you know the names of the 2 Jet starters that played last night?
I believe there's actually 3 starters, I believe, and that was Greg Zuerlein, Thomas Morstead, and Thomas Hennessy, the team's long snapper.
Yep. You missed the 2 I was speaking of because those other ones don't count. Punters and kickers are barely starters. They're barely starters. You don't have backups. Typically, you don't have backups on the team.
We don't have a backup to a fullback, but anywho, go ahead. Yes.
So let's talk about the real 2 starters that potentially played. Or
no idea.
Michael Clemens. He
didn't play last night.
He did.
I'm pretty sure he didn't. I could double check the snaps. I'm pretty sure he dressed, but didn't play a snap.
You're exactly right. You can check the stats. You're not going to find anything, but yes, at least the Jets website said that he started last night. But anyways, yes, Tac McKinley, absolutely. He's that the Jets have him on the roster is amazing, and they definitely need to analyze the talent. Now, again, who is he playing against? But it was impressive, along with Leonard Taylor III. Very impressive night by both of them. Again, you just have to make sure that you take it with a grain of salt based on who the competition they're playing against. However, Leonard Taylor III could probably go down in NFL history with involved in 3 sacks and 3 plays.
That's pretty unique for that to happen. Yeah, there were 3 either half sacks or full sacks in a 3-play sequence. I mean, that's pretty gosh darn impressive. There's no other way to put it. So that was terrific. And we'll wait. Rich Samini normally tweets out our full game stats from last night, so we'll see. But yeah, on the Jets press release before the game, they said he would not play, and I didn't think I saw them, but we'll wait to see if we could get that in the final conclusion, because that'll kind of change the conversation. Because if he did not play, as I think he did not, then that says all you have to say. If his roster spot was in jeopardy, he's a guy that would have been playing last night then.
Yeah, yep. So I don't know. I read an article. I believed that he played. I didn't see him on the field, but there you go. Okay. But yes, those 2, Tac and Leonard, definitely stood out last night.
Before we play some of these Tac clips, who was your player of the game? Last time we had you on the show, you highlighted a guy that surprised some of us, and Shamar Bartholomew, or whatever that is, as I just jacked that up. And he got leapfrog last night. That was unfortunate. So I'm assuming it's not him this time. But who would be your player of the game?
Yeah, it's not going to be a hidden gem this time, but I would go with Leonard Taylor III. So that's not a surprise. It's some nice. deep hidden thing. Izzy made a nice highlight reel for his next team, whoever that's going to be. He apparently, if you need him, he's free on Wednesday. His calendar's clear.
Come on, man. Come on. You didn't Izzy to the hizzy, breaking 1 million tackles and taking it 45 yards to the hizzy?
He had a nice spin move, but he actually only broke 1 tackle. And then everybody else stood around that they were surprised. He did a spin move, and everyone else was like, huh? Yeah. And there he was off. So it was it was a nice move, and he spun out of it. So
you do not have him making the roster.
Well, there was a reason he was playing, right?
Sure.
There's a reason he was the only running back. Like they started at 4th in the depth chart and went down, right? Anybody that played at running back last night, I don't think is making the 53-man roster. That's what I'm saying.
That's probably true, I guess. But all right, well, let's start here. Like I said, we'll play some of these McKinley clips from last night, and one of the big ones, and why McKinley is even here in the first place, and he had no other opportunities revealed last night. So it was the Jets or nothing, and he had already been out of football at a point during his tenure where he's out of football for 1.5 years. And the reason why he got a chance with the Jets is because Jets defense coordinator Jeff Ulbrich, he coached him in Atlanta as a first-round draft pick, and he also recruited him when he was at community college and took him to UCLA. Let's play that clip, that first one right off the bat. He credits Jeff Ulbrich, as does Saleh. Saleh said the only reason he was here is because Jeff Ulbrich said, hey, can we give the kid a shot? Can we give him a tryout? He got the workout and then ultimately the minicamp tryout, and the rest is history, they say. Here we go.
I mentioned that Jeff Ulbrich was one of the people who pushed to get you even a tryout over here. Describe your relationship with Jeff.
Man, Coach Ulbrich, that's my guy. He recruited me out of community college to UCLA. So we always had that bond and that connection. He know the real Tac McKinley. And again, I know in the past, I made mistakes on the field, off the field, but everybody can grow, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just very thankful that he gave me the opportunity just to, show the Jets organization, what I'm capable of. And, he a great man because he didn't have to do that. So every day in training camp, I gave him all. And in the game, I gave them all, and we'll see what happens.
Let me ask you, Pop. I can't remember what you said, so I guess I'll ask again, just in case you already revealed it. Do you have Tac making this roster, Tac McKinley?
It's going to be tight. It really, again, he had a good game last night. I just, in context, what does that actually mean? But I do think that Tac McKinley will make the team. But what he showed last night, again, who was he playing against? So I don't want to make too much or too little of that, but it is a fact, right? The Giants didn't play any starters to speak of. There might have been one stray guy that played a snap.
Yeah, a couple of offensive linemen. It wasn't their full 5. There was only a couple, like John Michael Schmitzer center, but obviously that doesn't affect Tac. He's rushing from the outside.
Right, and they're, the Giants, did it all right. I think they had their tackle and their center were one of their tackles went in their center, and both got hurt. Neither one significant, neither one significantly. But there's your case, right? Because you can be walking on the turf and blow out your knee. So yeah. So again, it wasn't the best, but I do think that Tac makes it, and he's too talented not to. And in the end, he's the insurance policy for Hassan Reddick. Not if he doesn't show up.
I think that's 100% true. That's a great point to make. Now, I want to make this perfectly clear that I know that I am your fifth favorite son. Okay, you've got Brody, you've got Nick, you got Woody, you've got some gaping hole on the depth chart, and then me. But your boy Woody, so to your point, right? Like the Giants decide, let's play a couple of starters in this preseason game. And it goes immediately disastrous. And then everyone's like, oh, boy. Well, that's why we don't play our starters, Jet fans say on social media. Woody was a major advocate of playing them for a series, getting them all out there, Rodgers, the line, and everybody. And, as his father, I just feel like, after seeing what happened to the Giants last night, I didn't know if he had a statement to share because Woody obviously is not here to defend himself, but I just didn't know if you had anything you'd like to share in that realm on your boy Woody with that take that seems a little questionable.
Yeah, on that, Rudy always wears a hat. I just got to share this with everyone that's listening.
Oh, sure.
And the reason he's wearing a hat is because normally there's a tinfoil beanie underneath his hat. Because some of his ideas are a little bit out there. But anyways, right, sure. I will just say that the first game of the season, let's just trot back to that play that Rodgers had. It was really an innocuous play. It wasn't like a down the field, and that could have been last night. That same play, they would have run something very similar. And then your one offensive lineman, a tackle away from, he slips, right? The guard steps on the tackle's foot, and here we are all over again. So yeah, that could happen at any play, any time. But the difference is you don't have to play Russian roulette if you don't have to, right? I mean, it's a third preseason game. Right. I mean, why spin the revolver and point at your head? There's no upside to that. You see, because I was actually going to talk about it later, but at the end of the day, we react and overreact and and fans to what we see on the field. The real decisions are made by those, the live scrimmages, what you see day to day in training camp, and what you see in the preseason games is the result of what the coaches need to see. Like it's a test. Okay, we'll see if this guy can stand on his head for 10 minutes because they want to see him in game situation. So they already know what they know. Preseason has evolved. And really, did the team get anything out of last night? I think there's one or two things they needed to get out of that mission of last night. But the main thing they needed to get out of was injury-free heading into the game against 49ers.
And by all accounts, they did. There was a few injuries during the game, but if you did not join our midnight postgame show or 1 a.m. postgame show, I don't blame you, so I'll give you the update again. A couple of backup offensive linemen went down, and you're like, oh boy. And that was Xavier Newman, Max Mitchell. Xavier Newman could have returned to the game, according to Saleh, and they were doing Jets player in-game interviews. Xavier Newman was behind Tyler Conco when he was doing his interview, and he was laughing and running around, so he looked just fine. And apparently the same for Max Mitchell, according to Saleh. The only one that's sort of up in the air, although Saleh didn't think it was long-term, is Kenny Yeboah, and he's your third tight end. So, like a special teams guy, nothing really there, which, like I said, is incredibly encouraging. There's just one more clip I want to play. There's several we could, but there's only one more I think we want to play here from Tac, and then we'll get to the rest of the team here. And I think you'll appreciate this, Dad. As a WWE guy, you might have noticed a couple of different celebrations. Tac had a couple of sacks, so he had a few different opportunities to pull things out of the bag. One of them was the Spinneroonie.
Where did the breakdancing come from?
Oh, shout out Booker T. 5 time. But nah, that was before my grandma passed away in 2011. We used to always watch wrestling together, and her favorite wrestler was Booker T. So that's the reason why I got dreads when she passed away. I decided to get dreads because Booker T had dreads. So the Spinneroonie was for my grandma, and shout out Booker T.
What a lovable guy he is. And also, I respect saying 5 times five times.
times.
I mean, that's low key. If you know, you know. I mean, that's terrific. So shout out to him. Yes, and if you guys don't remember his draft story from 2017, his parents didn't raise him. His grandmother raised him, and his grandmother passed away in 2011. So he brought a picture of her to the draft, and he was with her when he got drafted. And there you go, Booker T. Can you dig it, sucker? Oh yeah, Booker T. One of the OGs.
You know what? I think it's his. Well, I don't think his partner from the Harlem Heat. Actually, it was his birthday the other day.
Wow, that's kind of
let me get it right. Stevie Ray, I believe, right?
okay. Yeah, let me double
Yeah,
check.
I believe he's 66, 68, something like that.
Wow,
His birthday was just the other day.
Yeah, his let me see what his real name, or you tell me. Lash Huffman. Is that is it? Yeah, that's what it says here for Harlem Heat. Is again? You had the two. Oh yeah, his in ring name was Stevie Ray, but apparently he also went by Lash Huffman. Apparently, but there you go on Stevie Ray. So good, shout out to him. Okay, he's still looking good. It seems like there's a recent picture of him. So good for him and Booker T. I just saw Booker T recently too. So nice. Okay, Lash Huffman. AKA Stevie Ray. You nailed it, Pop. There you go. Getting your wrestling trivia.
It was his birthday, 66.
Okay.
August 22nd. Yeah, boom.
It was in the news. So we'll see. I don't think I was just checking like Booker T because I said, oh, maybe a lot of people saw this went, oh my God, let's tag Booker T so he sees this. I don't think Booker T has responded yet, but that's pretty cool. I think he will. He's pretty social media savvy, so I'll see if that does indeed happen. Let's get to two things here first. We got a couple
Booker.
of super chats. King Booker. I love that. I just heard him. He just did a podcast. He was talking about it, like how he loved getting that role. He thought he might retire and leave wrestling right before that happened. And then his career took an additional spin. He got to the WWE hired his wife. But yeah, the King Booker. He just, here's the thing, Pap. This is a random side piece. Are you watching wrestling at all right now?
So sometimes, not too much.
Okay. So they've brought back the King of the Ring, which is cool. So shout out to Triple H for bringing it back with some level of prominence. And the two people that won King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring, respectively, became champions. And that's awesome. But like outside of Nia Jax, who won the woman's side, the male side, they're not like he's not coming out in royalness now. Gunta was the one who won it. And he had the crown like kind of initially as like, hey, look, I won it. But then he's never worn it again. Like he hasn't made it part of his shtick. But, like, there's been some good guys in WWE history who have embraced it fully, and it became a cool part of their character. So, King Booker probably is the best of all time, but I just wanted to throw that out there, that I love it when they incorporate it. Because if they just win it and they say, yeah, I won it, you're like, oh, that's kind of lame. So why the hell did we do this entire tournament to pick somebody if you're not going to, anywho, that's neither here nor there. But I will tell you this, we've got a super chat coming in from Hear Me Out, who said, just did a fantasy draft. Brees Hall was my number one pick. I did a best ball draft yesterday for the first time in my life, and I had pick 10 or 11 or something. I can't even remember who I picked. I'm going to have to look back and see who that ended up being last night. But Brees Hall, number one pick. Father, are you on board?
No.
Oh.
Well, no. I think Brees Hall is going to have a solid year. I think they're going to mix up the ball around more. I'll write it down right now. If he exceeds 1,100 yards, I'll be in rushing. I'll be surprised. I think it's going to be the three-headed monster, right, if you will, in the backfield. So, yeah, I think he's going to have a solid year. This is not a dig on him. I just think they're going to spread the ball all over the place, both to receivers and the running backs. Is going to be a mixture of the offenses, unless Hackett's a complete moron. So, yeah. Anyway, but yeah. I think I wouldn't pick him for that reason. Knowing the two rookies and what we've seen out of them, and I think that they're going to be able to pass the ball. Right? They didn't really have that last year. They didn't really exercise that. Once they figured out week 8 that Brees could catch the ball, right? They pass him the ball a lot. So I wouldn't take him number one. He definitely would be someone I would consider, but it definitely wouldn't be in the first round. Definitely wouldn't be number one.
Hey, you know what? Hear me out. I would have taken it with the number one overall pick if I had it, baby. He is in for a massive season. And let's also get to this real quick. Right before the show, MFC, mother_effing_true, gifted a membership. problem is I can't see. It must be too early. I can't see it in the comments section. So if someone can tell me who this new member is, welcome to the Boy Green Coffee Club. For whatever reason, there is a technical difficulty here. Will not reveal the name to me. So hopefully I could give you your proper flowers at some point during the show. All right, Pop, there's a lot of different directions we could go. Again, shouting out all these individual player performances and things of that nature. What's on your docket? We'll just kind of bounce off of what you have, or I could just lead us to different players and storylines coming off this game.
Yeah. First of all, 25. 25
25
that out there. 25 days
until
the home opener.
Yes, which, we are on 25. 25 is my number. There's my jersey number in high school. So, 25, 25, 25. I love it.
And I'm sure you put the merch thing in the link below for people to buy.
It is in every link, people. So, yes, all of the YouTube links are down there. So you can read a column from last night. That one's in there. You could get your own membership to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Feel free to do that. I'll also try to do this moving forward because in the second half of the show, we open up the link so callers can call in. And normally in the first half, I give you the join in. So I will drop that in as well as we're doing this live on the show. So you guys can punch your ticket, and it's very easy to see as a pinned message. So I will have that up in just a moment on YouTube as the pinned message, so you can join the Boy Green Coffee Club. You know what? Let's just do that right now. Let's put it right in there to make it easy peasy for everyone. Right here. Here you go. That is now in the chat, so go ahead. You guys can go to town on that. Feel free. If you're not a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club, if you click that very link right there, you could become a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club. That is, again, now the pinned message. It gives you a loyalty badge, access to the emojis, and, of course, you can also get access to our Discord channel, which is terrific. And MFC says, I have no idea who got that membership. Well, whoever you are, you know who you are.
There you
go. Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah, I would say, the only thing I think Peasley won the QB3 spot, and not for anything phenomenal. I don't think it's Martinez. Not both are going to make the roster. It's very clear.
Do either make the roster? I wonder.
I believe. Well, it depends. What we don't know is, in the huge Jets draft room talent analysis, if they feel that they need to make moves to be ready for other moves, right? Because it's a huge. To say it's a chess game is probably underscoring it, right?
Sure.
And so maybe you let them both go out in the nether sphere as you comb that, as we talked about, really looking, it's going to be like Christmas morning or Black Friday, if you will, the shopping that's going to happen when those, roughly 1,200 players hit the market. And so if they needed to save the roster spot because they have their eye on, Johnny or Jimmy, because I'm sure they have that top 5 players that they would scoop up if someone's available and they've been analyzed who's going to drop. And so I believe one of them will eventually make the roster. If they both got cut on Tuesday, I wouldn't be shocked because it's unlikely that neither one has let the world on fire in the past couple of weeks. So they will circle back around. So if you needed that ability to flex back and forth and you wanted to keep them, you knew that you could matriculate them to the practice squad, knowing that you get this 54th player, which isn't talked about very much, right? You get that third backup quarterback, which doesn't affect the number of people on the field, kind of the old school emergency quarterback that is really just there. So I see them using that a lot this year. I have most teams with that allowance now that guy doesn't count against us. He's there if we need him. Hopefully we don't need him. So they might both be cut by the wayside, but I expect, a week from now, we'll know which one is on the practice squad. Do they keep them on the 53? Probably not, because of this new allowance by the NFL to have the person that doesn't count against you.
There's actually a double rule. So you could either use it the way you said, which is totally cool. And the other way you could use it, another little tweak to the NFL rule is, of course, there's a final 53. 53 guys make the final roster, but there is a game day roster versus 8 other guys that are just inactive. They're just in shorts and t-shirts. They're on the roster, quote unquote, but each week teams have to pick an active game day. Now, if you have a third quarterback, you could dress them and make them they count in the inactive group, but they're actually active.
Right.
They can touch the field, of course, if either of your first two guys are hurt, suspended, disqualified, or in some way compromised seriously, then that third guy can enter the game. But if any of the other two suddenly could return, that guy would have to be yanked, and you could use it in that way. So either practice squad or this. The practice squad benefit is, of course, it's not on the roster at all. But, of course, that player could be stolen at any point. There's no more practice squad protections. The other way, you could protect that player in theory. But would anyone be willing to claim him? So there's all this, again,
Right.
the D
Yeah.
chess that you're talking about. Yeah.
I mean, Martinez, showed out on the first game, not so much last game, and he stunk the house out last week. Underthrows, could have had multiple. He could have had a Trey Lance week last week, but the with the five, almost a six pack short of one can of interceptions that Trey Lance opened up last night. But really, we don't know unless you've been at training camp all week, unless you've been in the practice room with them. Who knows who has a slight edge, right? Neither one is knocking the doors off the barn, so to speak. So, well, it'll be interesting to see. And I think the nuances that we don't see is what's going to really determine which one makes the roster. But did you see Tommy DeVito get pounded into a cutlet last night?
Yeah, I got his autographed football right here off camera. I'm staring at it. TD #13 from his Syracuse days. Yes.
Wait a minute. Wasn't that supposed to be my football?
Well, technically,
don't you owe that?
I'm sworn under contract to Syracuse University to never. This football must either be burned or stay at my house, according to Syracuse University.
Didn't I win the bid on that on the auction?
Again, Syracuse is the one who came out and said, Paul, you must remove that ball immediately. You compromise the eligibility of Tommy DeVito as a member of the Syracuse football program. I'm like, oh, didn't anticipate that email this morning, but okay. All right, okay. Syracuse bosses, I will remove
you can bring that over on Saturday when you come to Edson Zone North. Just trot it on over here. But anyways.
We'll look into that. Yes, I did see Tommy DeVito get smacked around. I will say I am happy, not that Tommy got beat up and his money was stolen last night, but I am happy that he's an NFL quarterback, and despite the fact he played, which you'd be like, oh, that can't be a good sign that he played in this random game. The Giants just had no other choice. You have Daniel Jones, you have Drew Lock, who's hurt, and then Tommy. So I believe Tommy has no problems making that Giants roster. So shout out to the former Syracuse product, Tommy DeVito. I think he'll be just dandy and good. He's made a hell of a career for himself. There's no question with the pop of the Italian Sean Stellato, guy.
Right.
He's that's now blown up, and now he makes millions of dollars. So, great for Tommy. That's good, man. Hey, take advantage of your ops. As far as I'm concerned. Real quick, I see Jared B said that other guy was Travis Perheem. Okay, so welcome to the Boy Green Coffee Club, and I see we have another member. Thank you, guys. Let's keep making it rain. Well, this guy's had a lot of problems with this account. He used to be a member. John Sauer, welcome back to the party, man. So I don't know what had been going on with your account, but it doesn't matter because MFC just gave you the alley, and you're now a member once again, John Sauer. So congratulations, buddy. That is absolutely wonderful news. Yeah, we'll see on the quarterback thing again. You're right. Unless we're watching the snaps on a week-to-week basis, day-to-day basis, it's hard to really, have a take on one of those guys. Again, maybe to your point, there are a couple of Taylor Heineke's. If one of those guys gets loose, you could get another veteran guy as your QB3 to really insulate yourself. And I wouldn't be surprised based on what happened last year if they're like, man, we really need another guy. If one shakes free, we'll see if that indeed happens from that standpoint. Let's also, 8 sacks. That was very nice. So shout out there. We had the QB3 battle. Izzy, so you'll maybe love or hate this answer. Maybe this says to what you say. So Izzy, right? He gets 9 carries, 83 yards, 9.2 a clip, had the 45-yarder to the house, which was all awesome. After the game, whoa, Salah, Izzy went crazy. Izzy got busy. Izzy to the hizzy. And Salah said, well, that didn't change anything. We knew who he was before the game. Now, you can interpret that one of two ways. One, yikes, that's kind of a dick comment. So I guess it did absolutely nothing, because his fate was sealed, so to speak. He wasn't making the roster. Or you could see it the other way. Hey, man, We already knew he was good. Now the rest of you guys know he was good. So it was one of those two options, I believe, when he said it like that.
Yeah, I think we know. But anyways, talk about, this is why you let your third string quarterback get some snaps in practice. Because you remember last year, was it last year or the year before, that horrible start by Tommy DeVito, where he never passed the ball. He threw the ball like he played the whole game.
That was this. Actually, that was this past season. It was Jets Giants. Ironically enough, Tyrod Taylor gets hurt. Tommy goes in. That's the first time I think we ever saw Tommy in his career, at least. Because he was a rookie last year. So I believe that's the first time we saw him in his career. And Dable didn't trust him, so he just said, "Run, run, 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 run." And then I think he had to attempt passes. He had to attempt like a pass or two at the end of the game, either in overtime or late in the game. But that was it. Yeah, what was I got to look that up now. I got to look up the box score for that game because, for a while it looked like the game that was going on because the Giants had like 50 net passing yards or something. Because after the first game, they had negative net passing yards, and I was like, "Good Lord, yeah, overtime. Oh yeah." Yeah, let's get to this disgusting box score. I hope I never have to see this again. Okay, here it is. Oh, God. Tommy DeVito was 2 of 7 for -1 yards.
Yes.
How does that happen? That's wow. Okay.
I can't believe he threw 7 passes. I remember watching that game, and my brain still hurts because that's how bad that game was.
Hey, that's an important game in Jets history. That's when Nathaniel Hackett said he knew that Breece Hall could catch the ball. It was week 8, baby.
I'm going to let
Better
that
late
go.
than never. Okay,
a
few more memberships, baby. Shout out. Let's keep it going. Okay, thank you, Jared B., for gifting a membership. John D. Lee, you are now a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club, and I see MFC is back up to his old tricks, baby. He said, "Oh, Jared B., you're not going to raise me. I'm going to raise you, buddy." And he's the one who gifts another membership. A-Rog Spidey. Okay, sure. You're a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club. Welcome to the show. And also, Jared B. will drop in the Discord link so you guys can feel free to join that. Take full advantage of your YouTube membership. So, yeah. Tommy DeVito. Sorry, buddy. So, I guess we know what's happened with Izzy. Although, I would say I think he ends up being RB4. But I guess we'll see if that does indeed come to fruition. I was just trying to scan through if there's any. Oh, yeah. Just another guy that we didn't talk about, and I know we didn't give enough love to this guy, so we'll talk about him too. Braden McGregor, he's another undrafted free agent out of Michigan. A lot of people were high on him, but let me ask you this first. Okay, so Braden McGregor, before this game that just happened last night, was a pressure guy. He got a lot of pressures. Are you a fan of pressures? Does that mean something? There was a big debate this offseason. Dan Campbell says he almost likes pressure more than sacks, which got into this big debate of what? How does that make any sense? At least from my perspective, I was fighting the other side. I'm like, sacks are finishers. The play is over. You want sacks. Pressures, like Jets, unfortunately, in their history, have had guys that are big pressure guys. Carl Lawson, Leonard Williams. They're big pressure guys, but they didn't always get the sacks. And those kind of players, I don't think are remembered fondly all the time in Jets history. Are you a pressure or a sack guy?
Both. I mean, typically, you think about some of the better players in the NFL, right? That you're always there. Now, you got to be able to finish, right? But you should have that healthy ratio because quarterbacks make mistakes under the pressure, right? They get rid of the ball prematurely. So I think there's something to that. But yeah, because the pressure guy is going to become the sack guy later on in the game because it's easier for me or an edge rusher to get around an offensive lineman. Later in the game, they wear down. So yeah, I agree with Terrence.
Man, there you go. So, maybe I'm not giving it enough credence. But anyhow, the reason why I brought that up is Braden McGregor over the first couple of preseason games is getting a few pressures. And again, if you look for that in the box score, you'll see it. But a lot of people just go for sacks. They're like, oh, boy, nothing here. But for Braden McGregor, he was another guy, obviously, that got involved in the mix last night. He had 2 sacks. He had 3 quarterback hits. He was very involved, and he's a guy that, again, has been showing a few flashes, but last night was the first time that we saw that, productivity. Interesting. That's MFC jumping in to say this, which we appreciate. So I'll try to get this more involved. People request this all the time.
Wow.
Wow, baby. MFC, thank you for the super chat. Pressures creates turnovers. So, yeah, like I said, maybe I don't give it enough love, but I've always been, producing the sacks is an important thing in the world of football. But hey, different strokes, different folks. Brady McGregor, again, I mentioned it with Tac McKinley earlier when I brought him up to you. You're like, oh boy, it's going to be tough to make it. Brady McGregor, I'm assuming that's the same ball of wax there.
That's right. It's a good problem to have,
Sure. Yeah.
Just think about, we talked about a few weeks ago that we thought 6 of the 7 draft picks were going to make the team. So let's say,
let me pull that back up. Yeah.
Let's say that's still true. And now we're going to say that 2 to 3 undrafted people made the team.
Yeah.
There's some tough sledding. And I remember a lot of the people in the chat back during the draft and yourself, we don't need 7 picks. We can go with 3 picks. We have all the players we need. And now it looks like not only we're going to keep, whatever 6 out of 7 of the people in the draft, we're going to keep 2 or 3 undrafted free agents. I mean, that's huge. Not compared to where we thought we were going to be in March, April timeframe.
No, that's true. Yeah, I think 6 of the 7 make it. So to run through them real quick, Olu Fashanu, obviously, Malachi Corley, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, Quantez Stiggers. Now, I think Jalen Key gets cut. He's brought back on the practice squad. Technically, Jordan Travis makes it, but I believe he will be an NFI candidate, non-football injury, didn't recover enough from his broken leg. So sure. He will make the roster, then boop, NFI and be out for the year, but again, he can still hang around the facility, rehab, do all that stuff, but he won't count towards the roster. So technically, I have him making it, and he would have made it anyway. The Jets invested a 5th-round draft choice. That's a cheap rookie control for 4 years. I think he will make it and then slap it on NFI. But yeah, Jalen Key, the chances he had to make plays in the preseason, a pick, it bounced off his face mask. Like, I know you don't, again, we just talked about pressures and this, like creating pass deflections to interceptions and making plays, but players have to take advantage of the moments they get. I think that's it. And R&R says this, Pops is really a Jets fan, says we and us when talking about the Jets.
Well, I have said that they are, in the top 2 of my team. So there you go.
All right, there you go. Beautiful. It's great to see, the Jets and Cowboys both in the top 2. Where does who sit? Who knows? We'll leave that up to the gods, of course. So shout out Brandon McGregor. And we only did a brief mention of this guy, but Leonard Taylor III. He's a guy that you highlighted earlier. He was involved in 3 straight sack plays where he ended up only officially tallying a sack and a half. So he got 3 half sacks in a row, 3 quarterback hits. He's a guy that people thought could have been a 1st-round draft choice in college. And then from what we hear, the motor was questionable. Things were kind of hit and miss with him a little bit. The passion for football, a lot of things have been questioned in Leonard Taylor III's past. Now, the passion for football thing is normally something the Jets don't like to touch. That's like a prerequisite to play for them, is that they will do anything for football. But Saleh talked a little bit last night that they feel like they have a room, especially in the defensive line room, where you have no choice but to step up to the plate, is how he described it, when you have Quinnens and Jermaines and go through the whole list of guys that they have on the team, that you either have to step up or step out. If you don't step up to them, you're going to lose the respect of your fellow teammates, and you're not going to make the team, you're not going to make the roster and stuff of that nature. And he thinks that's helped Leonard Taylor reach another level and come at least a little bit closer to the drafted top 100 player people thought he would be, who ended up going undrafted. So anything more on Leonard Taylor III you'd like to share?
Yeah, just think about that, and so the people that said that his heart wasn't in it was his coaching staff. So that's how you go from 1st-round potential to out, right?
Yeah,
this guy is born and bred criminal, for those out there that remember back in the 80s, the Catholics versus the criminals, Notre Dame versus the University of Miami, right? He was born in he was bred to wear that turnover chain and as a criminal. And then for your own coaching staff to say, this guy just, has all the talent in the world, but his heart's not in it. That's how the Jets are able to scoop him up. I think he does make the team in some form or fashion. I don't think they're going to cut him out to the wind and hope they can get him back again on the practice squad. I don't think that's going to happen. So I think he will make it. It's interesting, typically your heart's more in it in college because there's more of that camaraderie and stuff like that. There's a little bit of that, show me the money in the NFL. And for him to have come full circle and be showing it on the field is interesting. So especially talented guy. This is how you become an elite team, is you get that diamond in the rough and you reap the benefit of it.
Let's go here. Yeah, this was just weird. I'm going to be honest. This individual we kind of goofed around with, what starters played last night? And one of them I mentioned, I didn't think he was going to play. That is Greg Zuerlein. I said, well, they've got this other kid there, Austin Siebert, and the Jets might trade him. There's been a lot of kicker trades the last couple of years for like a 2075 7th-round pick. So it's nothing really in terms of value, but hey, better than nothing, I suppose. So I thought he was going to play, not Zuerlein. Zuerlein ends up playing. We're like, okay, well, good for Zuerlein. He could just knock in a couple through, get the vibes going good. And he missed 2. He shanked an easy one, and then he also shanked a 42-yarder, which for him is easy peasy. So I see a lot of people bringing it up. Jared B says, yeah, what the hell's going on with Zuerlein? Hope it doesn't go into the season a case of the yips or what's happening there. Yo Holmes said that it's definitely concerning that we saw from the kicker. Yes, those field goal misses were concerning. Yo Holmes says on our YouTube channel. The thing that gets me is that I think there are a million really talented kickers in the world that could kick all over the place. I think it's a mental thing that really separates a lot of them. And when you get in that funk, it's hard to get out of it. He just signed a 2-year deal for $8.4 million. So hopefully that's not. Any concern should we have about Zuerlein seemingly out of nowhere all of a sudden shanking some kicks in a preseason game?
Yeah, there's different philosophies with kickers, right? So a lot of teams, like if you could make we're satisfied if you're confident in your offense, right? So this is the difference between the Jets teams of Rex Ryan and what we expect out of the Jets this year, and I'll explain. Right. Okay. So I think the vision is that with Aaron Rodgers, with Wilson and Williams and all these other components, the offense is going to be more of a 50-50. Right, than it has been, right? That like it's not back in Rex Ryan, the defense was 80-20, if you will, right?
Right, sure.
If you understand what I'm saying. So when you're 80-20, you need a Steve Zuerlein. You need an Aubrey who can kick from 70 yards out, right? Because it's going to be a defensive struggle and points matter, right? So if you're an offensive team, it's 50-50 or even 60-40 where the offense is bringing more to the table than the defense. Then you can settle for that 40-yard guy. Because, hey, you know what? If 80 or 90% of the time you can kick a 40-yard field goal, then you know what? I'm going to save a few $1 million every single year with my punter. The punter, you can kick it for 40 yards, 40-yard punt, 40-yard field goal, and I'm going to rinse and repeat every year. Then you don't need that, the guy that can boom it from 60 yards consistently. So, but unfortunately, I think it's a little concerning, but it's not a situation. The Jets are in a place that they could let him, they couldn't make that bait and switch. If they hadn't just signed him, and let's say it was next year and the guaranteed money is not there, then maybe you save yourself 3 or 4. Next year, he's going to be on the hook for like $5 million or something like that, 5 or 6 million. And so likely the leg is, booted out the door next year. So that would be this. Now you're almost locked into having them this year. So there could be a concern there.
Yeah, I see Dave Brigg asked, didn't Z have an injury last year? And the reason why I know it, besides the fact I'm a Jets guy, it was the Jets-Cowboys game. Greg Zuerlein got hurt, and all week they were doing kicker tryouts. And guess who? Austin Siebert, who is on the team right now, filled in for him in that Jets-Cowboys game. And obviously, the Jets were scoring touchdowns all over the place, so they needed him throughout the game, obviously, during that Jets-Cowboys game. How could you possibly forget all the usage that old Austin Siebert got in there? So, no, I think to your point, you have to be somewhat concerned, like, whoa, this is just, you're getting him out of the way, right, Greg? And I guess we'll see what ends up happening there first. Anything else you want to get to, Pop, on any of these players before we open up the floodgates to the fans?
Nope. I think we can open it up. Really, 25 days away. And then last thing I'll say is we're going to have more to come, as the months advance. But just remember that in November we'll be having a Wounded Warrior auction. So get your things in that you're willing to donate. We'll be raising money for the Wounded Warriors here on the show.
Yes, as we have more details and lock that in, I will try to open up a P.O. box or something where you guys could donate items or things of that nature, and we can do a full, me and my father jumping on, giving a video to explain everything of what that entails. But yes, for the last handful of years, prior to COVID, before that unfortunately stopped my efforts, we used to host a charitable event around the NFL draft where I got famous people that I've been humble and lucky enough to get to know in this business, donate a variety of autographed items, which is terrific. And then we auction all those off, and then all the money is donated to charity. In this specific case, the Wounded Warrior Project, which has been terrific. So we'll keep you guys posted on that, and hopefully we could do that before the season, if and when we're able to put all that together. So guys, keep an eye out for that as well. We have 400 people in the room. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. We appreciate the support. Keep it rolling. Every show is live at 7:30 in the morning. Plus, of course, we have every post-game show and my father's other favorite son, James Woody, every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 o'clock. And also, I confirmed that Woody will be joining us during Boy Green Daily this fall for all his Woody 3. So he'll be on every game day episode. So you'll have some Woody action, some Woodyology, where we can all be blessed with his knowledge and insights. All right, let's jump on over to the phone lines. We've got JB Money Johnny Boy here on the program. What's up, Johnny?
What's going on, Boy Green? What up, Papa Esden? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, getting ready for the day to start.
The game show, right? 10:30, right? That's a couple hours away.
But I got sent down to make more bottles for the kiddo. So
I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's your alarm now.
I see. Well, by the way, now you have time to call into the show. You're like, there's sorry, honey, there's a problem happening with the bottle. Oh, guys, this is great. Let's go. There you go, Johnny.
I already gave her the bottle.
Oh, okay. Nice guys. Nice. Great. Yeah, that's for
Brownlee, man, he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
I think he's gone, man. He again yesterday kind of, well, first and foremost, let me say this.
Sure.
I hope we never have to see Peasley or Martinez back there, because that means that our freaking season has derailed, and we're going to have your dad just tearing us a new one. I can let you know that right now, dude.
That's a real fear.
I will not call into the show when your dad's there. I will not want to hear it.
No.
But
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
But there were some flashes from Martinez. So if I had to choose
Martinez. Yeah, right. Yeah, at least he showed that crazy. I said, oh my God, is he going to run this to the house? When he had that one crazy run, he started going, woo, woo, woo. He cut it across the field. But then, he runs into his own guys, and his guys are like, what the? We don't know where the hell you're zigzagging all over the place. He ran into an offensive lineman. But yeah, at least he's more fun. Peasley's just boring, man. And then, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. It was terrible. Peasley, he's had moments where like, whoa. But the moments, unfortunately, have been very few and far between.
And I did want to ask you guys this, right? Smith, the wide receiver Smith.
Brandon Smith, yeah.
Right? What do you guys think? I mean, do you think he did enough to be able to make it into there? Definitely or our practice cat?
Maybe practice squad.
Yeah.
He had that. So for folks who missed, he had the one catch for 39 yards last night. So he's had, obviously, he was only targeted that one time. So he did what he could with what was presented to him. He's had the 39-yarder, the 33-yarder, and the 37-yarder. So that's 3 big plays throughout the preseason, which is terrific. I think that's enough for the practice squad, but I don't think the David Clowney Award, unfortunately, is going to old Brandon Smith here. I know even if Brownlee misses it, do they get another guy, or do they just, we're keeping an extra defensive lineman instead? Because I think that's where they lean. I think you could keep one less receiver and kind of keep a tight pack of 5 or 6, and then you turn around and go, oh, okay, here's the chess piece for defensive line, or, oh, here's the chess piece for offensive line. I think that's more likely than 1-for-1 Brownlee replacement with a receiver. Pop?
Yeah, I'm with you. And it better be offensive line, just for the record.
Yeah,
I think, right, Smith, it just makes a lot of sense that he would matriculate to the practice squad and he's not somebody that someone else is going to steal. Right? The Jets know him, know what they have available to bring him up as needed throughout the season. I think that's really where he lands.
And I say this, right? The reason I was saying all that is because back in the day, the Jets would have taken a chance on that type of player and put him in the team. We have so much talent right now that there are going to be players that we're going to be letting go that are going to start and other teams that are going to do really well. Like the defensive line rotation that we were having, it's crazy because those players are good. They were dominating in the trenches as they're supposed to against these second stringers, third stringers, and being able to excel. Like I've never understood where you get a guy and he's like not doing good against second or third stringers and he makes the team.
Right.
I'm like, you're supposed to dominate that if you're going to go ahead and do that. And a big example for me is I don't know if you guys remember, but since we're talking Giants and Jets, is Victor Cruz. I mean, Victor Cruz was not a guy
Salsa
that
dance.
was.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns in that preseason game that Johnny's talking about. They put him on the map, and of course, the last time the Giants beat the Jets in the regular season, the year was 2011. It was this pivotal game between the Jets and Giants. Who was going to make the playoffs? Giants make the playoffs and win the whole friggin' thing. Blech! Disgusting. Yep. Thanks to Victor Cruz dancing and 2 Jets colliding into each other for a 99-yard touchdown to the house. I could still see him doing that little stupid horse. Giddy on up, yeehaw! I hate that.
If you could never do what you just did again, that would be great.
Okay.
I hope he does it at the home opener.
Oh, hey now. Hey, who knows? Anything's possible.
Yeah. Actually, do that right before we do the Boy Green toss. Because that'll inspire me.
Weird. No thanks. No thanks.
But I wanted to ask you guys this. So that meant to everything that I was talking about was to get me to this point.
Okay.
How many defensive linemen do you guys think we're going to truly carry on the team this year? 10?
10-piece. 10-piece O-line, 10-piece D-line. I believe we're going to have 20 total. Trench warfare. I think the Jets learned their lesson. They only kept 9 last year on the offensive line. I think they learned their lesson, and they have 10 that are worth keeping, in my opinion. We could coin flip, and we could debate Cole Laval, Xavier Newmans. I think, and I'll write a piece about this, I'm sure, some point today or tomorrow, but people believe that Max Mitchell is going to get traded, so that one's interesting to me, so I'm going to have to keep an eye out for that one. Yeah, I read it from a piece. I think it was NFL.com is the one who had it. I had it in my notes, so I got to do some more looking into it, but that Max Mitchell could be flipped somewhere, so I'm like, interesting. Now, I don't know if it's player-for-player swap. Do they get a pick? I'll be kind of curious, so I'll look into that. Maybe that'll be a show on one of these shows coming up, but yeah, for sure. So that one's kind of interesting. So yeah, 10 O linemen, 10 D linemen. That's kind of where I'm at. Pop, what's your math on that?
Yeah, I agree. That really is what they need, that for the way they play defense and the offensive line. You just can't afford to be where they were last year. So I 100% agree with that.
Hey, BG, can you name your the 10 that you think are going to make it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. Let me just do this. I just want to pull up the Jets roster, and I'll run you through all the guys that I have making it, so I don't miss anybody. All right, here we go. Here's my 10. So let's get the obvious out of the way, obviously. So you have Joe Tippmann. He's obviously making it. You have Tyron Smith. You have Morgan Moses. You have Elijah Vera-Tucker. You have John Simpson. So you have your 5 that are making it. You have Olu Fashanu. Now we're at 6. Let's see. We've got Carter Warren. I believe he makes it. So that'll take us to 7 there. And the Jets roster lists this very weird, so I got to make sure I don't miss anybody here. So we have him making it. Wes Schweitzer is obviously making it, so he's at 8. I have Cole Laval making it. That takes us to 9. And then the other offensive linemen, I believe, now it's a coin toss. It could be Xavier Newman. It could be Max Mitchell. I'll lean towards Xavier Newman because I think that ultimately Mitchell ends up getting flipped. So there's your 10 right there, baby.
Wow. Agreed. Yeah, I think the one that's going to be the hardest one it's the defensive lineman. It's when you get to like 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, no, 8, 9, 10. Because when you get there, that's when you're going to start being like, who is going to be there? Which of the players?
And where's the split? Because what people were arguing last night, right? Like, so Leonard Taylor III is a defensive tackle. How many of those are you keeping as opposed to defensive ends? How are you planning for Hassan Reddick if and when? And so, like, how are you planning in your head, Jets? Oh, yeah, he's showing up on September blah, which means we have to have a spot ready for him. So we have to do this. So, like, there's all these others that, or if they say, oh, like, I know we can't say this publicly to Jet fans, but he ain't coming, then we have to prepare for blah. So I'm making that up. I have no idea what they're thinking, but that's just all the things they have to kind of chess piece too of, okay, 10 defensive linemen, we're saying that number on the surface, but how many are defensive tackles? How many are defensive ends? Is there a 5-5 split? That seems probably rich. Is it 6-4? So all of a sudden you have to start doing that math too.
Oof. Yeah, man, dude. Again, what a good problem to have.
Of course.
You have all these good players, and you're like, the rotation piece, I'm just excited, man. I cannot wait. 15 more days, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken, to the beginning of the season. We could see what we truly are made. I mean, San Fran, that's a good test on the road. Normally, we're not good when we go out to Cali, right? So it'll be a good thing to see this. I'm hyped. Let's go Jets. Papa Esden, pleasure seeing you on here, man, again. BG, you already know what time it is, man. And I say this. Can you dig it, suckers?
One of the best intros in the business. Oh, yeah, baby. Booker T. He's one of the best.
Don't do that music again. That's
definitely it. You know, on some teams, you try to do the beat and people are like, I have no idea what that is. That beat I just did is 1,000% Booker T. That's spot on. That's spot on. 100%. Can you do
sounds like you're making like 70s porn music. It's not good.
Well, I haven't checked out 70s porn, so I wouldn't be able to confirm the music, but thanks for sharing, Pap. Yeah, you're Jets World wide open guy, which we appreciate. Thank you very much. Who else? Is there any other player that we didn't mention that you want to get to? You want to give a special shout out to?
Nope, I think we covered it all. Really, really interested in the cut down and look at the numbers and then who's out there, you know, because it's like I said, this is unlike anything we've ever seen before. 1,200 players hit the street, and you know, it's really interesting to how, you know, active the Jets are. You know, how they're going after that 3 to 5 players. Are like, we think these guys are going to be out there. We're going to jump on them, and so that dichotomy with here's the 53. Well, is it really, or is it the 50? Because these guys are ready to get the old, you know, think about the rabbits, George, the little mice and men treatment, and get the old bullet in the back of the head, because these other 3 guys were scraping up. So I think there are those 3 players that don't know it, but they're like, you know, it's March Madness time. They're on the bubble. And they don't know it. Yeah, I made the team. Oh crap, I'm cut. So that's going to happen. So we're going to see that Wednesday, Thursday time frame, and it's going to be great. It's a very exciting time of the year.
Yeah, because like I said, there's, you know, we're going to overreact. Woo, the initial 53. Congratulations, everybody. And things are going to happen. There's no doubt about it. So we will, like I said, before cutdown day, we'll have a 53-man roster prediction show. So feel free to tune into that. I'll have an accompanying article with that as well, as we talk about it and break it down and predict what we believe is going to happen. And you can already see a couple. I saw Jared B. text me earlier, said, oh, Rich Cimini has his 53-man roster prediction up. I'm sure Zach Rosenblatt's going to have his up. And you can look through a couple of those before you make some of your business decisions. So either way, that should be very, very interesting. Make sure you guys, again, when is cutdown day? I can repeat that. It is Tuesday, August 27th. So it's coming up, and it has to be by 4 o'clock. So there's 32 teams, and everyone's at 90 men on their roster, or that's the maximum they're allowed to have. And then they have to cut them down to 53 by 4 o'clock on Tuesday. And then that's where waivers open up, so you can claim. And I think it's an important note in closing here is that if you claim a player off of waivers, that player goes to your 53-man roster, not your practice squad. So you immediately have to create a play. So if I put in a waiver for my dad here, I want this guy on the team. Oh, snap. We were awarded him. Who's the player you're dumping? You have to have that ready for the NFL, because the spin cycle goes through very, very quickly. And sometimes you can put a claim in for a player and then lose out. Another a common question people ask is, well, what's the order for the waiver wire? That goes by draft order, actually. So the Jets will have the 10th pick. It does not factor in trade, so it's your original draft slot. So the Jets are 10th in waiver wire order, which helps them from sucking last year, which is terrific. And then once we get into the season, then it'll be your standings. But we won't get there until the season gets here. So the Jets will benefit, again, as player 10. But the other thing that's kind of interesting is if you put in a claim for a guy, right, you're like, oh, boy, I want Johnny on the team, and I'm willing to cut Freddie. And then all of a sudden, the team number 9 in front of you gets your guy. You're like, oh, well, I guess I'm keeping Freddie, So that's just the unfortunate reality. So there will be a lot of shuffling that happens here before we get to week 1. But we do know that the next game we discuss will be Jets 49ers with week 1. And one final thing here, Jared B says, Paul, what is the new rules with IR this year? Just more flexibility in terms of players you can put on IR ahead of time where you don't have to have them on the roster for a day like you used to in years past. So you could just put them straight to IR, keep them on the team, and you don't have to do some of the roster finagling where you had to carry them for a day, which forced you to cut other players. You don't have to do that anymore. So that part is pretty good. All right. Excellent. All right, Dad, any final thoughts?
Nope. We'll both be here 1 week from today, live.
That's right.
From the White Mountains.
Yeah, so I'll be doing some live Boy Green Dailies with my father. I've got a big fantasy draft to do that'll be live from the Camillus Golf Club here locally. I'll be hosting that event coming up on Friday. We'll have people flying in for that. It's crazy. I love how crazy fantasy football has gone, so I will do that. I will import all their draft results. I will stay up to the wee hours of the night, get a quick nap, and boom. And then, or maybe not, maybe I'll just go. Either way, we'll figure it out, and I will be in the White Mountains, baby, for a handful of days before the grind of the season hits us, which will be pretty terrific.
All right.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks for joining us again. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. And yes, Zach Kuntz is absolutely gone. What the hell? Dropping that 40-yard pass. Zach Kuntz, see you later, pal. We'll see if he ends up on the practice squad for continued development. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow morning for another episode of Boy Green Daily. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.